In an increasingly loud world that seems to demand more and more of your free time, the films of Studio Ghibli are like a breath of fresh air. These animated masterpieces manage to capture a sort of quiet magic of daily life that continues to inspire me. Of course, there's massive and epic set pieces throughout many of these films, but it's those small, simple moments that give these stories such a rich sense of atmosphere. There's probably a million different topics I could try to cover relating to these films, but there's one that stands out the most for me personally, which can best be described in just one word: wonder. From the visuals to the soundtrack, a feeling of wonder is intertwined with every aspect of a Ghibli film. While watching, I'm always caught up in a sense of awe. The way the worlds are animated feels so real and lived in, and it pulls me into a trance of full immersion. The way the characters move and interact with what's around them is detailed and realistic, and the objects around the scene look and sound realistic as well. It's interesting how these animated spaces feel more real and tangible than a lot of live-action films, almost like the animation brings out the simple beauty of the basic and mundane things around us. It's tiny, seemingly insignificant details that create realism and authenticity in the characters. Mei copying all the actions of her older sister, Chihiro staring out the window silently pondering, and Ashitaka stopping to feed his elk on the side of the mountain are all perfect examples of the famous moments of Ma that Miyazaki specifically puts into his work, slowing down the pace of the narrative and giving the story and audience a chance to breathe and soak in the beautiful scenery. The score and sound design are essential parts of the Ghibli magic as well. Between the detailed sounds of the world and the gorgeous melodies crafted for each story, the audio experience of these films is unlike any other. There's the big, bombastic, and sweeping pieces that blow you away with emotion, but equally as important are the smaller and quieter moments that let you sit and reflect for a bit. And there's a certain element to the soundtrack that just can't be described with words, but rather felt through the notes. But one of the most impressive parts about the music in these films is how sparingly it's used. There are lots of long scenes with no soundtrack at all, with just the ambience of the environment to keep you company. By focusing on getting the tiny sounds of every object on screen just right, the world building benefits massively, and those quiet sections make the moments when the score does come in hit a lot harder. The story and plot are usually written in a way that keeps you guessing and invested the whole time. It's never as clear-cut as it seems at first, and there are always more layers to uncover the more you think about it. Every time I rewatch one of these films, I discover new themes and lessons to take away, and new depth to every aspect of the story. I'll usually keep thinking about the narrative for a few days after watching, just thinking over why and how the story can be so impactful. The fact that every new rewatch can bring new meaning to my personal interpretation of these films is proof of just how well crafted they are. I also love how everyone has a different list of their favorite Ghibli movies. Whether it's Howl's Moving Castle or The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, we all personally relate to these stories in different ways based on our own personal lives and experiences. It's difficult to describe what makes these films so special, because I really don't know anything about anything, but I do know how I feel while watching them. Whether I'm getting caught up in the grand spectacle of a world I'll never visit, or noticing the simple beauty of normal, ordinary life, watching Studio Ghibli films always puts things in focus for me and acts as a sort of reset for my brain so I can think clearly again. Hopefully you enjoyed this short little video. I've been working on it on and off for a while now. I just wanted to make a sort of small tribute to all these amazing films, since I could never create something large enough to capture everything they offer. So instead I tried to create just a small slice of what makes these films so incredible. The work of Studio Ghibli means a lot to me, and I'm sure I'll continue to find new meaning and enjoyment from these stories for years to come. These films continue to inspire me creatively, and I'm sure they will for the rest of my life. And someday I hope to make something myself that has just a small fraction of the special magic and wonder that Ghibli is known for.